Take a second to check out my Patreon page, guys. Your support is really appreciated. Enjoy the tutorial. Hey guys, and welcome back to the second Let's Code tutorial doing the finance tracker. So in the first video I just basically gave you a rundown of what we were doing, and we left it with this first page having been created just with a bit of text and a start button. At the time the start button didn't do anything, but obviously now it is going to do something. If you haven't got this far and you haven't watched the first video, then you can head over to the first video on the playlist, and you'll be able to find the resources for this on the website as well, which is in the description. So everything you need that I use on here, I sometimes upload the code for the front pages and stuff, so that you don't have to type all of this out and lay out all the grids. So definitely check that out. So what I've done so far is I've just changed the start button now to have an event. So the event is just start button underscore click, which if we go to the back end of the main page, you'll see that we've just got a navigation taking us to the setup page. Now the other thing that's in here at the moment, which will start to make more sense in a minute, is the isolated storage settings. So this is so that we can store things in the isolated storage, and it will be usable outside of the each page. We can use it throughout the app, and when the app closes, these settings will remain in here until they uninstall the application. So what we've got here is we've got the application page load. So when the main page loads, it checks in the application settings to see if there is if there's an entry called setup complete, and if there is, then it automatically takes them to the summary page and it removes the back entry. Now the reason it removes the back entry is if you navigate someone to the summary page and don't have this bit of code, what will happen is you get onto the summary page, and if you press the back button it will take you back to the main page. But we don't want them seeing this page anymore, because once they've set their finance tracker up, there's no need to see this page again, because this just kind of is kind of an introduction and gets them started on setting it up. So let's go over now to the setup page. So the page I've added here is pretty similar to the first one. We're going to use the same kind of style. It just says time to set things up, and there's two things left to enter. So the first one is choose which currency. So we've got the dollar and we've got pound. You know, you can put whatever you want in here. You can add more buttons or less, whatever. I've just done dollars and pounds for now. And then how much is the monthly budget? So how much are they going to budget themselves per month? Obviously for the budget is kind of a budget tracker, so you're going to need that. So then I've just added a finish button as well. So I've just called these, you know, radio button 1, radio button 2, and then I've got total budget text box. So that's all I've done here so far, and again added a finish button and a bit of text, a click event for finish button click. So if we go in here, you'll see we've got the application settings declared again because we need to use it here, and literally the only bit of code is the finish button click. So once they click that button, what it will do is we put a local string in to take the currency of whichever radio button was active. So if the first one's checked, it will put the chosen currency to dollar, and if the second button is checked, then it will put the currency to pound coin. Now you can do this a different way, or you can just follow this on with, rather than else if, with else if, you can just add another one at the bottom here, else if, and just keep going down with your radio buttons for all your different currencies. And obviously when you've got radio buttons on a page, if you click on one of them, you have to make sure that you make one of them selected to start with in the properties, and as soon as they click on the pound, it will automatically unselect the dollar one and put it onto the pound, so they can only have one option selected. Then after it's made sure we've got this, what it does is it checks if the total budget text is like more than nothing. So if they've emptied the box out and pressed finish button, you know, that's not handy. We don't want that. So what we've done is making sure there's actually something in the box. Now that's not good enough either, because although I've made the box input, scope and number, I have obviously got to deal with the fact that there is going to be a decimal in there, because you can use decimals in numbers. So what we've done here is a little bit of code which I found online just to make things quicker. It basically just what it does is it goes through character by character, and it checks if the character is a number. Now this means that they can't have a decimal in their budget, so their budget must be a rounded number, but we'll be able to, you know, take away smaller amounts when it comes to the actual math side of it, and then putting money in and taking money out of the budget. So once it's got through this bit of code, if if there is numbers and there's no dots, no decimals, then the code will continue. Otherwise it will just stop here. It will just fail right here, and it will wipe the box clean, and it will give them a little message saying your budget cannot contain a decimal. So basically I put some little bits of text in here to say what they do in case you want to copy the code. Basically this bit here just adds the app settings stuff. So we've got the total budget, and if you remember back on the main page we had setup complete. Now setup complete doesn't get added until the two variables here have been added into the isolated storage, and we're happy that it's actually set up. So we've got total budget, which is obviously coming directly from the total budget text box, and then we've got the currency, which is being set as the chosen currency, which is again either the dollar or the pound, which we set back up here. Now once we're happy we've got both those values, we make the setup complete, and we then navigate them to the summary page. Now the summary page, again, if we're on there, we don't want them to be able to go back and change anything, so what we do is we remove the back entry twice. Now the reason we don't remove it once is because that will still leave the main page visible, which means they'll still be able to go onto the main page and then press the start button again. So we have to remove it twice. And the reason we don't remove this at the start is if they start doing the settings and then they want to press back, it will cut them out of the app, whereas at the moment it won't. So they can go back and read the information that was on the main page, and I think it just works better that way. So if any of it fails, obviously you've got you must enter a budget, because that's the only condition that cannot be met. There will always be one of these two selected, so the only thing that won't work will be the budget. Once we're done here, we then go over to the summary page. So let me just open this up. Now the summary page is obviously incomplete because the next part is going to be adding and removing things, you know, adding to the budget, removing from the budget. So what we've got at the moment is a total budget text box here and a remaining budget text box. So that one doesn't actually do anything at the moment, but this initial one here, total budget, it says, obviously I've written some, you know, some default text in just to lay it out on the page. Again, you can copy the code that I put up on the website in the resources. Now inside the code of this page, we basically have some very simple code again. Once again, we declare the application settings, and what we do is we just do the total budget text block text, which is this, and we make it equal to the word budget with the colons here, a space, and then we add the application settings currency, which was our pound or dollar, plus our application settings total budget. So now if I load up the emulator, hopefully what we will get is this to work. Oh, hang on, I haven't reset it. So when you're playing around with this app, you can either set your application to remove application data when you add it, or make it uninstall and reinstall, but I hadn't just then, so there you go. So now we're welcome to our finance tracker. We press start, so I can choose between the two. I'm going to choose pounds, and I'm going to be awkward and not put anything in the box. So we get you must enter a budget. So then I'm going to be awkward again, and I'm going to put a dot in. You can't do that. Alright, so it clears the box again. So now I'll actually put in a number, £1,458. We'll finish, and as you can see here, my budget is 1,458. If I press back, it takes me out of the app, and if I go back into the app, it skips the main page and takes me straight to my finance summary. So this is where I would obviously see my budget. It makes it quicker for people to kind of keep track of their money, and I think it'd be good to go straight in on this screen and see what's going in and what's been coming out of your finance in this app. So that's it for the second video here, guys, and in the third one obviously we'll start to look at adding deductions to the budget, and we'll obviously then add things, you know, have them, if they somehow, you know, come across some money, then they could add it back into their budget, and then they'll have a little string to say what it was, you know, what it came out, whether they went and, I don't know, bought McDonald's and then found a fiver on the floor on the way home. I don't really know, but that's kind of the idea that we're going to go for. So as ever, you know, check me out on Twitter, subscribe, and check out my Patreon page. I'll see you in the next one.